express that through word. Through word. Verbal expression. So the next page, it is a synthesis of what we study. It is from Monsieur Roger Verneau. He's a French Monsieur. He was a teacher, Catholic University in Paris. His book is Philosophy of the Law, Philosophy of Man. Is excellent, but I can affirm with total humility and truth that the book of Father Reichmann is much better. Because Father Reichmann is at update with science. When you read the book, you see he refers to biology, he refers to paleontology, he refers to other philosophers, etc. That book is very, very good. I taught that in French many years. But Father Reichmann is the best for me. But I discussed with another teacher and she told me, oh no, there is another better. You know, it is relativism. But I repeat, if I can send you, if you want, I can send you my note in the Philosophy of Man, if you want to read that. It's a very good, I think. Not because I wrote that, no, I did not. I only make the interpretation of what is the book of Father Reichmann. It is, for me, excellent. And if you master that, it is useful for your theology. Very useful, because what we studied, Philosophy of Man, will be taken, used in theology, in ethics. You cannot understand, you cannot have an idea, because we cannot understand the mysteries of faith. But you have an idea, human person of Christ, mystery of incarnation, Holy Trinity, you get all those things if you don't know Philosophy of Man. Because we know spiritual reality through analogy. In our analogy comes from our own experience. And the best experience we have is our personal experience as a human person. So if ever, you are not obliged, it's a suggestion. Huh? Sometimes students ask me what book I can read to complete, but I suggest that book. Huh? You can find that on the Philosophy of the Human Person by Father Reichmann. It is a Loyola Press. It's not expensive, I think it was, did you buy that?
$50.
$50, it's very cheap. It's a good book, but the price. I think they sell that to make the book. No, not to make money. Okay, now I go to that text. If you, here we have a real synthesis of what we should know. Huh? Because tonight maybe I spoke on many things, I was a little bit repeating. Here you have the essential. First, knowledge is a vital activity. When we say vital activity, don't remember spontaneous and immanent. Spontaneous and immanent. We must be familiar with that. Okay? It is a reaction of something, somebody to something. In fact, what is it? It is a relation between a subject and an object. The subject is somebody, and the object is something. And the reaction is the act. That is the chapter schema of every knowledge is here. Every act of will. Subject, act, object. All the rest is based on that. It is the skeleton for all the rest. A subject, like in logic, it was subject and predicate. Here it is subject, act, and object. So it is the activity of a moving being, in motion, spontaneous, but not totally spontaneous, because to act we need an object. I cannot see if there is no color. I cannot, I think, therefore I exist. It's not philosophical. Even if Descartes said that, it's not philosophical. My thought must have an object. I think about what? I think. I smell. What do you smell? I smell. No, I see. Now you go on Times Square in New York and you are there. The people, the police will come. Look at that, you see, hey. special hospital. Because when we see, there must be an object. If there is no object, it is hallucination. The hallucination is a grave, serious disease. Spontaneous activity, not absolutely, because we need an object. Huh? Okay, now it is immanent activity. Immanent. The term of the act of knowing stays in the knowing being. It perfects it. It enriches it. It informs. We give new form. Imagine when you know something true or beautiful, you become more learned. You share in the beauty of the thing, etc. Knowing an object does not modify it in any way. When I know something, I don't change the thing I know. But I become rich of the thing I know. I don't impoverish the thing I know. I become rich of its value, of its form. Okay? When you study science, for example, you become rich of the own knowledge of the other scientists. You take benefit of their research. And the more we know, the more we accumulate that knowledge. Okay? The proper of the knowing subject is that it can grow indefinitely. Our mind is open to the infinite. Never satisfied. Our heart is never satisfied. Through the objective possession of intentional form of other things. There is no end to know. We can know up to our last breath. And after our last breath, I'm sure we know something, where we are going. The forms of other things enter its own substantial form, which assimilate them. So the form of thing enter my substantial form on my soul. In my soul, through my intellect, assimilate them, and they become myself. So the more you know, the more you become other. You have a communion with the universe. Those who stay in their little village, but they stay there. But if you go to Paris, if you go to Washington, to Moscow, you know better and better the world. You are enriched by the culture of the world. The same for languages. When the living being knows, it receives the form of others, while staying identical to what it is, but become rich of the form of others. I remember when I taught, excuse me if I said the same, I said in the other class, I was teaching in the high school in 10th grade, 10th grade last year. And the director of the school was a brother. He said, when he gave the result, the grade to the children, he said, I never heard about someone who confessed of intellectual gluttony. Intellectual gluttony. We have material gluttony. We can eat too much, we can drink too much, but we cannot know too much. There is no limit to knowledge. No limit to knowledge. Fourth, knowledge is a relation between two terms, a subject and object. So relation through the act. So the act of knowing, seeing, touching, will, etc., the act make us in contact, and the subject in relation with the object, and the object in relation with the subject. There is a relation. And there is also, we saw that another place, it is action and passion. And in the intellectual knowledge, we will see that next week, that in fact, we at the same time, we are the one who knows and the one who is informed. We abstract, at the same time we receive what, like when you look at yourself in the mirror. You have the cause of seeing yourself in the mirror. Yeah, you have the cause of that. But you are at the same time the patient. You receive your own image. So you are at the same time the agent and you are the patient. Reflection. The same in knowledge. We reflect. We look at the thing and the thing comes to us. After that, we have the agent abstracting, and after that we are receiving the fruit of our abstraction, assimilation. I told that, huh? We are the agent and the patient. We are the one who study, and we are the one who is enriched by our study. Okay? That is a characteristic of life, immanence, spontaneity and immanence. Okay? Finally, the religion, in fact, I can say every knowledge has a dimension of communion, a social dimension, if you want. In fact, why we are sociable? Because we know other. Behind the fact we know other, even if we don't want, we enter in communion with them. For example, maybe we don't want I exist, but we are in communion with I exist. We don't like Hitler, well, we are in communion with Hitler. Of course, that provokes another reaction, another emotion. But that emotion is known, we see that soon, is provoked by knowledge. Because the object enters my mind and provokes an emotive reaction. Finally, it is an intentional union, the synthesis between the object and the subject. It is a kind of assimilation. Object known by the subject continue to exist as they are, but they receive in the knowing being a new mode of existence. For example, when I know you, you exist in a new way in my mind. And when you knew me, I exist in you, in your mind, in such a way that you possess me. Yes, you can, after the class, speak about me. No. I am possessed by you because you know me. But I possess you also. It's interesting, huh? Communion. Communion. In communion. You know, when you go to church, everyone is alone. No, we are two. And the sign of peace before the communion is that, to make known the other. So before knowing Jesus and receiving, we must know one another. We cannot love if we don't know. Scholastic philosophy, so it is international presence. In fact, when you know something, the thing is present to you. So, for example, I have students 60 years ago. Those students are present to me. I can say, oh yeah, Gary P, Labelle. I know even the name of someone, you know. They are present to me. Like your father, your mother, your grandfather, your grandmother is present to you, even if they are dead. Interesting. It is a kind of immortality. To know is a kind of immortality. We can die, but the other continue to know you. You live in their mind. You are present to their mind, so they can continue to love you, or they can continue to detest you. And only to think about something, sometimes we become furious. Yeah. And the person is dead, but
still matter.
And but the worst, we cannot get rid of that. When it is in you forever. You know the problem for little children, when they saw some scene of violence in their family, when they are abused, it is for the rest of their life. We cannot get rid of the good thing, we cannot, that is memory, except if you lose your memory. But what is memory? Is to make present the facts of the past. They are present because you know them, you assimilate them, you keep them. It's the same for teaching, it's the same for the Bible. If you assimilate very well the gospel, you can quote the gospel, teach about the gospel, because it is something present in you. So knowledge is make a new presence. I come back to the French definition. Connaître. Connaître in English. Connaître. To be born, to be born with. When you know something, it is born in you. It can be grow, but it will affect. In fact, I said sometimes we cannot go out from a conversation without being changed. Because what you know in the conversation, that the meeting with that person, it is not in you. It is a wonderful thing, analysis. So next week we try to explain now how we can know. Tonight we saw that what is to know. Now we try to find how we can know. And that is the most important chapter of all philosophy. Have a good night.
Thank you, Father.